What's going on, Raider Nation? Let's talk about draft weekend. What's going on, Raider Nation? It is your guy, Ed Raider, and a lot has transpired during the week after the draft. There's a lot of guys we signed. We're going to dive deep into our draft reaction. And also, an article came out by Peter King that I just actually read shortly before this live. And my goodness, guys, we have a lot to talk about because I'm seeing, even for me, during draft weekend, especially during the third, fourth rounds, and even the fifth and the sixth and the seventh, I was wondering, what are the Raiders doing? What is Ziegler doing? Signing these guys, really position players that I felt we didn't need. The most controversial pick was the Trey Tucker wide receiver pick. And we're gonna dive deep into why were these picks made? And this Peter King article, he was only with the Raiders for night one, but it kind of gave me some insight on what the Raiders were trying to do, even in day two of the draft and in day three of the draft. And I want you guys to know I'm here for it. These guys, these I know I wanted to give a draft reaction, but I think after reading this article, guys, we have to talk about this article because Ziegler and McDaniels are getting a lot of heat from Raider Nation as if they don't know what they're doing. A lot of Raider Nation doesn't like the draft. A lot of, even I was one that was kind of confused with the draft. I wouldn't say I hated the draft, but I was confused on the direction where Ziegler and McDaniels wanted to take the Raiders. It was really confusing. The Tyree Wilson pick wasn't really confusing. I think Michael Mayer would have been confusing. There was a little more clarity from Peter King on the Michael Mayer pick. And as we got into the third and the fourth and the fifth round, as I said, it really started to shake up a little bit. Where are the Raiders going from a personnel group? But real quick, let me give my shout outs in. We got Thor in the building representing Raider Nation Drinking Club. Raiders. Shout out to Sean Johnson hitting me up with the article. Salute. Glad you was able to read the article before your live. That would show you the direction and vision of where Derek Ziegler and Champ Kelly and Josh McDaniels want to build this Raiders. Yes, you're totally right, Sean. And that's what it did. That is what this article did. And if you guys have not checked it out, I'm actually going to put the link in the chat. If you guys haven't checked out the article, please check out the article. It is going to give you guys more clarity on where the Raiders want to go. So let's look into it. So here we go. Let's look into it. The Raiders draft class was first round defensive end Tyree Wilson, round 2 tight end Michael Mayer, round 3 defensive tackle Byron Young, wide receiver Trey Tucker at pick 100. That's the Darren Waller pick. At 104, cornerback Jacorian Bennett. 135, quarterback Aiden O'Connell. We got safety Christopher Smith. And at 203, linebacker Amari Burney. And our last pick was defensive tackle Nesta Jade Silvera. Overall, the draft class, I give it a B+. And this is why I give it a B+, is because the Raiders hit on the needs that they needed to hit. And it wasn't just a need. It was scheme fit. These guys fit their scheme. With Tyree Wilson, you can put Tyree Wilson, Chandler Jones, and Max Crosby all on the same field at the same time. Tyree Wilson could play he could play the 3 tech. As they even stated it on draft night, that Tyree Wilson, you could squeeze him into the inside and have Chandler Jones and Max Crosby on the outside, and you can have all 3 of them on the field. when Tyree Wilson was picked, Josh McDaniels said something really interesting. And I'm going to go back to the article that Peter King wrote. And it basically lines up who do they have on their draft board. Their draft board consists of Paris Johnson. It consists of Will Anderson, Devin Witherspoon, and Tyree Wilson. That was their draft board. That was their top 4 draft board leading into the 7th overall pick. The question was, were the Raiders going to trade up, or were they going to trade back and get more picks, or were they going to stay put? Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, they hashed things out, and they considered to stay put at the number 7th overall pick. Now, what they needed to do, this came out of Josh McDaniels' mouth. He said, what we need is for 3 quarterbacks to go before we pick. They need CJ Stroud, they need Bryce Young, and they need Anthony Richardson to go. They need at least 3 quarterbacks to go before they pick to guarantee that they're going to get one of the top 4 guys on their board. So, no surprise, all this mystery, and you got the Panthers picking Bryce Young. Draft has started, as Ziegler has stated. He stated to the whole draft room that the draft has officially started. During this time, guys, that Houston was picking CJ Stroud, right after Stroud got picked, Ziegler started to receive some calls. Now, it seems that they did talk to Arizona about possibly trading up to the number 3 overall pick. Obviously, it didn't work out. Will Anderson goes number 3. Then they're trying to, Anthony Richardson goes number 4 to the Colts. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting, as the Cardinals called Ziegler, and the Cardinals wanted to trade back into the top 10. They wanted to trade back up into the top 10. But the Raiders had Oklahoma tackle Harrison. They wanted to get him at 12, but they loved Paris Johnson more than Harrison. They wanted to grab Paris Johnson, but they know that Arizona is likely going to try to move in front of them to get Paris Johnson, which was obvious as Arizona did trade up with Detroit, getting in front of Las Vegas and getting Paris Johnson. Then Witherspoon went to Seattle at 5. So you got Will Anderson, Paris Johnson, and Witherspoon all off the board, which leaves it was an easy pick. Las Vegas was on the clock. Tyree Wilson was your pick because Paris Johnson's off the board, Witherspoon's off the board, Will Anderson's off the board. You got Tyree Wilson who was on the board, and this is when Tyree Wilson got picked. This is what McDaniels said. He said quietly, "Our board was right. We needed 3 quarterbacks to go, and we're so happy we got one of the 4 non-quarterbacks who were our top-rated guys on the board. Look, we got to rush the passer. We got to go get Mahomes and Herbert. That's 4 games a year for the next few years against these great young quarterbacks. And the AFC is full of these great young quarterbacks. This is a great outcome for us. This is the draft. The Raiders needed long-term help opposite of Max Crosby. Chandler Jones is 33, who will be 34 next year. That Anderson or Wilson would have been great. Witherspoon would have been great to add to a needed secondary, and Johnson would have been great to book in with Colton Miller. It's capricious. The choice wasn't up to Ziegler. Other teams decided for him, but the vibe in the room, the smiles, showed this staff loves Wilson, even with the foot injury that made him iffy candidate to some teams. So it really was a breakdown, guys. It wasn't, let's go, get Tyree Wilson and pick him over Jalen Carter, pick him over all these guys. No, they already rated their guys. They said about for 6 to 8 weeks, they were making their draft board. They had tense conversations on who did they want to bring in at that 7th overall position, if they were going to trade up, if they were going to trade down. They had conversation after conversation. And at the end of the day, it led to Tyree Wilson becoming a Raider. And I am here for it. It shows that Ziegler and McDaniels know what they're doing. They know what direction do they want to take the Raiders. They know that they want. They have to get after Mahomes. They have to get after Herbert. They have to go sack the quarterback. Interesting enough, we signed a lot of defensive ends. I think we even signed another. We signed another defensive end. Sorry, guys. It said, they're showing interest. It says the Raiders have expressed interest in XFL Vipers edge Pita Tapu. I'm gonna butcher this last name. I'm gonna say Tua. Pita Tua Mopunu, who posted 28 tackles, 9 tackles for losses, 7.5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 41 pressures, and 18 stops in 10 games this season. And you may ask, man, we're going after a lot of edges. Well, here's the thing. It's like McDaniel said. He knows that you got to go after Mahomes. You got to get after Herbert. And a lot of people will say, you're getting a lot of edges. Where does that leave like guys like Malcolm Kuntz? Where does that even leave Chandler Jones? Well, here's what it does. It shows, I think McDaniels wants to see more sacks. Tackles for losses, that's great, stopping the run. But, guys, Ziegler and McDaniels are just like Raider Nation. What do I mean by that? I mean that they are tired of seeing a quarterback in the pocket, sitting back there, having all day to throw. They want to see sacks. They want to see guys that will get after the quarterback and make the quarterback uncomfortable, that the quarterback is not able to set his feet, that he is basically running for his life back there in the pocket. And the only way you're going to get that is if you get guys like Tyree Wilson, you get guys like Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, and you get guys that are hungry, that not only for the job, but they are hungry to win football games. And I really believe Tyree Wilson went through with all the adversity, with the foot injury, and even being brought under the wing of Max Crosby, he can have a big year. That is if he puts the work in it. And we'll have to see how Patrick Graham uses him. Because like I said, he can also be used as a 3-tech. Let's continue with this article. Because then let's talk about Michael Mayer. Let's talk about the Michael Mayer pick. Back in the draft room, after pick 19, Ziegler said, Josh, you want to look at trades. On the board were 4 players with similar grades. They looked at Nolan Smith, Deontay Banks. They looked at Harrison from Oklahoma. And they also looked at Drew Sanders. Close to them was Notre Dame tight end Michael Mayer. Now, the Raiders, there wasn't much enthusiasm to move back into round 1 after Banks and Harrison went off the board. Ziegler made a couple calls about moving up to fill the hole left by the trade of tight end Darren Waller. He wanted to draft Mayer in the first round, but it never got far or appeared enthusiastic to do so. Sorry, guys. The Raiders then looked to Kansas City. 2 picks left, including Kansas City at 31. Mayer on the mind in the draft room. Ziegler said, if KC comes back to us, do you want to do it? McDaniel said yes. Kelly said he's the best tight end in the draft. Short conversation with Kansas City, and Ziegler said it was not going to work. That Kansas City, they would have given up their 31st pick, and they would have given us a 6th-round pick, but they wanted the 38th and the 70th overall pick, a net on the points chart of minus negative 147. Ziegler said there's too many players that we like, and we cannot risk trading away 2 valuable spots for the 31st. Ziegler on Friday then traded from the 38th to the 35th, basically swapping picks with the Colts, and got Michael Mayer and the tight end the Vegas wanted above everything else. And then all the needed Raiders trying to rebound from a few years of failed top picks, got 2 likely starters out of the draft, Tyree Wilson and Michael Mayer. After that, it's up in the air, as all the drafts are. The Raiders got their presumptive backup to Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, in the middle of the 4th round, about 2 rounds earlier than the consensus of where he deserved to go. They got a speed cornerback, Banks' teammate, Jacorian Bennett, with pick 104, and the Raiders hope he plays early. Mel Kiper, for one, liked the first 2 picks, but the others, not so much. After the top 2, Kiper said, I don't see value with the rest of this class. That's why they play the games, and in 3 years, we'll see if Ziegler picked right in the NFL's 88th draft. Now, of course, I summed it up. I summed up the article, and I'll say this, guys. After reading the article, Sean Johnson was right. It gives us a more clear vision of where the Raiders will go. Not even just this year, but for years to come. Now, giving my reaction to the entire draft class, I really wanted to talk about two guys, and it is wide receiver Trey Tucker and his cornerback Jacorian Bennett. Now, Trey Tucker, a lot of people don't like him because he's mostly a returner. He's not really that wide receiver. He's more of like a kick returner in the special teams. Now, his draft analysis. Tucker's slight frame and short arms work against him, but his speed and quickness give him the ability to uncover on all three levels. He's going to struggle to make contested catches, whether it's defender or the ground doing the contesting. While he can stretch the field, he might be most effective as a possession target underneath and a gadget option capable of making plays with the ball in his hands. His specific attributes create a higher ceiling but lower floor as a pro. His strengths is that he has sudden feet elude press off the release. His speeds by tight man with early acceleration. He sets up stop routes and comebacks with hard early drive. And he plays with desired level of competitiveness. Short area shake helps loosen the coverage. Talented option for receiver screens and quick game. And he returned 2 kicks for touchdowns during his college career. His weakness is his frame and catch radius are small. He's knocked out of rhythm by route redirection. He's overwhelmed by size and contested catches, and he has trouble finishing catches. And his height and his length limits downfield success. And to give you an all, he's 5'9", 182 pounds, and his wingspan is 28 inches, 7'8". He has a production score of 58, athleticism score of 83, his total score is 72. He is the 21st combined wide receiver ranked. His 40-yard dash was 4.4 seconds. 10-yard split was 1.48 seconds. Vertical jump, 37.5 inches. And his broad jump was 10. And I'm going to tell you guys, this is, for me, the sneakiest pick that Ziegler got. And I'll say this, man. I will say this. Trey Tucker is going to be, I'm going to say he would be our version of Tyreek Hill. Not saying he's going to be Tyreek Hill, but his speed is going to help the Raiders. And I know most people will say, well, where does that leave Renfrow? Well, after post-June, if Renfrow is traded, I believe the Raiders save about $7 million in dead cap. Comparing to like $11 million. So they say, and then $5 million next year. And the thing is, I would say I would keep Renfrow. And I know a lot of people will probably vote against that. But I would keep Renfrow, and hence that you want to get his draft stock up, or not his draft stock, but his trade stock up. Because right now no one's going to want to trade for Renfrow, given the season that he had last year. He had an injury-ridden season. No one's going to give you higher probably than a 4th-round pick, maybe a 3rd-round pick for next year's draft. I would say keep him, and then when the trade deadline comes, then you trade him. Then you look for a trade partner. Hopefully, he can fit into this offense. He can get his trade value up, so then maybe we could get a 2nd-round pick out of him or a 3rd-round pick. I'm not looking for a 1st round, but you want to try to get as much 2nd-round picks and 3rd-round picks you can get. I mean, could you imagine if we had many 2nd-round picks in this year's draft? So I like Trey Tucker. I really believe his speed is going to be really, really important in this offense. Pair him with Devontae Adams. Pair him with Jacoby Myers. Pair him with O.J. Howard. With Michael Mayer, this offense, guys, can be really dangerous. I really trust that Ziegler knew what he was doing. He got the talent that the Raiders needed. Speed is not coachable. Speed is given. Speed is a God-given talent. And as we always say, the Raiders started this. Speed kills. Speed kills. And Trey Tucker is going to show Raider Nation why he was picked up. Shout out to Thor. He says B+ with the draft. I am happy. Sean Johnson said Tucker ran a 4.29 at a pro day. Man, he got faster. He got faster. Shout out to Raider Lux. Crosby talked about wanting players who got that dog and won't let tough love stop them. Can we see the same? Can we say the same about Carter? And I would say this, Raider Lux, because I know a lot of people want a Jalen Carter, and I want a Jalen Carter too. I really thought Jalen Carter, that was the pick. It was written on the wall when Jalen Carter fell to 7. I'm like, man, Jalen Carter really fell to the Raiders at 7. And in all the mock drafts that me and my primo Nate did, we had, if Carter fell to us at 7, we picked Carter because it was a no-brainer. That was the best player in the draft. But here's why I would say Carter's going to be better with the Eagles than he is with the Raiders. And it's because Carter's got players that he's familiar with the Eagles. He's got family. He's got family. He's got, Nolan Smith. He's got Jordan Davis. He's got 2 guys that he likely calls his brothers that will keep him in check. With all the off the field issues that he had prior to the draft, they were going to keep him in check. Can we say the same that Crosby could do the same in Vegas? Well, Crosby and Jalen Carter really don't know each other that well. Yeah, they would be teammates, and Crosby would probably do what he can to take him under his wing to be on that defensive line, but they don't really have that connection. I believe Crosby and Tyree Wilson had that connection when Tyree Wilson came in for the 30-minute visit. There was a report that Crosby and Tyree Wilson had a lengthy conversation, and that Crosby told Ziegler McDaniels, you got to go get that guy. You got to go get Tyree Wilson. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Come the regular season, I'm really interested to see what Tyree Wilson and really the duo of Max Crosby and Tyree Wilson, what can we actually get some pressure to the quarterback? Because I think that is the one thing Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, they've listened to Raider Nation, guys. They've seen what we've seen. They're tired of quarterbacks just having all day to throw. They're tired of Mahomes being back there having all day to throw. They're tired of Herbert being back there having all day to throw. Yeah, we could have got Christian Gonzalez. We could have got any of the corners, but it doesn't help if you cannot get after the quarterback. They want to build this thing from the trenches. It starts and it ends from the trenches. Sean Johnson, did you know the cornerback Jacorian Bennett ran a 4.3 flat? I did not know that, Sean. Thank you for sharing that. I'm actually going to, we're going to bring up his draft, Jacorian Bennett. We're going to bring up his scouting report also. Because those are my 2 guys that I actually like out of this draft. I like Trey Tucker and I like Jacorian Bennett. Outside of Tyree Wilson, of course, and Michael Mayer, but I feel like those are obvious. So I went somewhere where a lot of people, they're actually probably going to criticize, but I actually like the Trey Tucker pick. I do like the Jacorian Bennett pick. I really believe Jacorian Bennett is going to ball out, probably like Nate Hobbs. Thank you, Raider Lux, also for popping up. I wanted Carter too, trust me. I feel like the 2017 draft when we took Cooper, but I really agree with you. Carter landed in the best spot because they trust their support system. And come on, even the Bears passed. And one of the main red flags that was reported was that our coach doesn't listen and it's tough. And honestly, that's the worst for Carter in my opinion. I want self-motivators. Sorry. Hey, bro, it's good. It's good, bro. You're good, bro. You're good. I know what you mean. I know what you meant, Raider Lux. I know what you meant. Also, shout out to you guys popping in the room. If you guys haven't already, which I believe most of you guys, Sean Johnson, Raider Lux, and Thor, I know you guys are probably subscribed to the channel, but if you guys can, spread the love around, share the link. Let's get we are trying to get to 300 subscribers. We are 8. I believe we are 8 or 9 subscribers away from 300. Help Primos get to 300. And then the next goal is going to be 400. Hopefully, we can get to 400 before training camp. Let's see if we can get to 400 before training camp. Also, hit that like button and also share the link. Hit the bell so you guys can be notified when we go live. Sean Johnson, Bennett gave up no touchdowns last year, and Christopher Smith was the steal was a steal of the safety position. Man, wait, is that breaking news right now? Raider Lux, is that breaking news right now? They finally like gave him a sentence. But let's look at Jacorian Bennett. Let's look at Jacorian Bennett's scout his analysis, his overview analysis. He's a high cut cornerback who is more of a catch challenger than an instinctive ball hawk. The high passes defense total is an example of how aggressive Bennett is at the catch point, and he's clearly effective at tilting the 50-50 ball in his favor. However, his coverage tends to lack the needed anticipation and discipline to stay connected to NFL route runners. He has good size, but his coverage strength is a mix and match of man and zone, with both featuring inconsistencies that will likely follow him into an NFL camp. Man, I got hiccups killing me. Oh yeah, I see that here, Sean. Yeah, he ran a 4.3. He is 5'11", 188 pounds. His strengths is that he's a well-built with NFL size. His good body control to stay in phase with double moves. He has loose hips for rapid flip to sprint trigger, and he's eager to crowd receivers' catch space on deep sideline throws. He's raving his catch challenges, attempts to pull, chop, and slap ball free. He recorded 27 passes defense over the last 2 seasons, and he will get downhill against the run. His weaknesses: lacks patience in mirroring press release. His recovery burst looks very average, and he's inconsistent in reading play development for coverage clues. Coverage lacks stickiness on in breaking routes. Tape shows some balance issues transitioning downhill from his pedal. Dropped more would-be interceptions than he made. Penalized 13 times over the past 2 seasons per PFF. And usually, I mean, when I'm reading that, that's really what I'm kind of not backing away from, but I'm kind of nervous about. The Raiders do struggle with penalties. And most times when you get these cornerbacks that are like, they love press release, they're really, crowding it when they're crowding like catches, crowding the receiver. You are likely going to get holding. You're likely going to get a lot of pass interference calls, and that's what kind of scares me with Jacorian Bennett. But let's remember, he is young, and this coaching staff can develop him into becoming one of the top cornerbacks in the league. And yeah, Raider Lux, man, is that going on like right now? Hold on, real quick. I want to see if that's. Oh yeah, that is. Yep, that's going on right now. Oh man. Man. Sean Johnson. He's are you're talking about Christopher Smith, right? You know what? I'm gonna bring him up too. Because it's Christopher Smith, right? Dang. I should just here we go. Football. Oh yeah, Christopher Smith. Let me look at his prospect. I like these late. I think these late round guys, they're gonna they're gonna be sneaky. A lot of guys are sleeping on these late round, these 4th round pickups and these 5th round pickups, but they're going to surprise people. They're going to surprise people. Sorry, guys. Hold on, I'm just in case there's nothing. There's nothing else. Yeah, Chris Smith is from Georgia. We're gonna do his overview. His overview is that he's an undersized free safety with decent athletic ability and toughness to bolster roster depth. Smith has man coverage talent and range to play over the top, but he has often been more effective attacking downhill on routes underneath and stopping plays. He's willing in run support, but tackling big backs could be an issue. Despite his limited size, his reliability and coverage is a big advantage against today's offensive attacks. His strength is that he's a hard worker with a history of success. He's ready to rush into the alley and slow outside run. He's able to alter track to mirror runners' movement in pursuit. He recorded 6 interceptions over the last 2 years. He finds angles to play the football in tight spaces, and he meets the receiver with timing and pop. He jarred a high number of throws loose from wide outs. His weakness is that he has the smallest frame for an aggressive safety. He slows feet and catches a collision in open field, and he needs to play with a better eye balance from off man, average chase burst at the top of the route, and very average feel when perched as a high safety. And like Christopher Smith, Jacorian Bennett, and Trey Tucker, I'm gonna steal a word from Dave Ziegler. He said that, I believe he said it about Trey Tucker and Bennett, or he said about Smith and Tucker. I know he said about Tucker. He said that he said that Tucker plays bigger than his size. And I believe with Tucker, Bennett, and Christopher Smith, you're getting that out of all three of them. They play bigger than what their size says. And Sean Johnson says he was a team captain on a national championship team. And the thing is, reason why I like getting like guys like Christopher Smith is those guys are coming from winning organizations like in college. Yes, college and NFL is two different areas, very two different. But when you are used to winning and that's all you know is how to win, then that's all you're going to want to do, right? You're not going to want to go from a winning organization and then you're going to start losing and you're going to be fine with it. You're going to be like, no, like this is not a good, like this sucks. This is a crap feeling. This is a shit feeling to be losing football games, especially. Could you imagine somebody like these guys like Christopher Smith, guys that even Michael, even though Notre Dame, they're kind of up and down, but guys that have been in winning organizations in college, could you imagine them being on the Raiders last year, losing the way that the Raiders lost last year, blowing 13-plus point leads, losing, at the end of the game towards, Jacksonville, towards Kansas City, losing the way I think the way the Raiders lost last season, those losses hurt. Like those are the type of losses that probably hurt more than anything. And what I like is that Josh McDaniels knows where he wants to get this, not only the defense, but where he wants to get this team. Same with Ziegler. Christopher Smith, Jacorian, he started by the edge. He started with drafting, the edge. He got Byron Young. He started with the trenches, and then he worked his way out. He got Jacorian Bennett, and he got Christopher Smith. And then he came back down into the trenches, getting Amari Burney and Nesta J. Silvera. And I'm telling you guys, it's not even the people that we drafted that you guys got to watch out for. Let's talk about the guys that are undrafted that the Raiders picked up. They got right tackle Dalton Wagner, offensive guard McClendon Curtis, tight end John Samuel Schechner, defensive end Brock Martin, defensive lineman Adam Plant Jr., cornerback Azizi Hearn, cornerback Jordan Perryman, linebacker Drake Thomas, and safety Jaden Grant. And also shout out to Raiders Scout. If you guys don't follow him, it's Raiders.Scout on Instagram. He put up a interesting, I'm trying to find it here. He put up, so McClendon Curtis, the offensive guard that the Raiders signed as an undrafted free agent. Raiders Scout wrote this. Undrafted rookie guard McClendon Curtis will compete for the Raiders starting right guard spot during training camp, along with Justin Murray and Attain Moody. The Raiders were reportedly incredibly high on Curtis, who attended the Senior Bowl under Patrick Graham. The team reportedly had a fourth-round grade or higher on Curtis. After going undrafted, Curtis signed with the Raiders on a deal featuring $210,000 guaranteed, the fourth highest among UDFAs, including Raiders right tackle Dalton Wagner, who slotted $265,000 guaranteed. And I'm telling you guys, I know a lot of fans, and yep, it's all coming out about Henry Ruggs is pleading guilty. He is likely going to be getting 3 to 10 years. Man, I don't even want to talk about it because, man, that was a hard situation. That was a hard subject to talk about. Not just because it was Ruggs, but also because of the woman. Like he had both, it ruined both lives, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. But yes, talking about our guard, McClendon Curtis, and when the draft ended, I actually talked. I was actually at work during when the draft ended, and when I came home, McClendon Curtis, when we signed him as an undrafted free agent, a lot of my DMs, even my dad, when he was reading, he's also like kind of my insider, along with you, Sean Johnson, and he told me McClendon Curtis, that is a name to keep an eye out for. McClendon Curtis, I'm telling you guys, that is a guy to keep the name out. McClendon Curtis. Lux says, unnecessary move, but fuck, that trade Renfro for Leonard Williams, LOL. Hey, Raider Lux, it could happen. Now, I want to get your guys' opinion on that. How do you guys feel about Hunter Renfro possibly being traded? How do you guys feel about Trey Tucker possibly taking his spot? I know we're not even talking about the other wide receivers like Philip Dorsett, talking about DeAndre Carter. This is what training camp is about, you guys. You want to bring in as much competition as you can. You don't just want to give these starters like, hey, you guys are the starters from last year, so you're going to be the automatic starter next year. No, you guys are going to come in and you guys are going to work for it. You guys are going to come in and grind it out. Trey Tucker, hey, Hunter Renfro. Trey Tucker's knocking on he's tapping on the shoulder. He's right behind you. DeAndre Carter's the same way. Philip Dorsett's the same way. I like the competition that they brought in training camp. I am excited for OTAs to start up, mini camp, training camp. I'm excited for it because you want to get the best out of your guys. And I believe that this draft and signing the guys in the UDFAs, it is going to bring a lot out of not just them, but it's going to bring a lot out of our starters as well. Let me see. Shout out to Raider Sprayo. Yo, Primos, grind it out. Big dog. Shout out to you, Raider Sprayo. Yes, guys, hit that like button. Spread the word, spread the love. Trying to get up to 300 subs. Hopefully we get to 400 before training camp starts. Raider Lux, imagine drafting Carter and this comes out today. Publicity would be hell. Hey, Raider Lux, man. Yeah, for real, man. And the thing is, a lot of people said we couldn't draft Carter based off what the Ruggs situation brought us. That's true, man. That's true. Oh man, that would not look good for the Raiders. If we can get Leonard Williams for Renfro, I would be willing to drive him to New York. Oh my gosh, bro. Hey, Raider Lux, like, I'll go with you. Hey, for real. You know what? I'll go with it. I'm like, yo, Renfro, bro. Like, so how you gonna keep those injuries like on a notch in New York? I could care less though. Cause you a giant now. You a giant now. Real shit. I hate it, bro. I don't mind Renfro, but now we made moves that makes him the odd man out with his contract. And Raider Lux, you're not wrong. Like, we gotta let's talk about it because that is the main topic coming out of our draft. Would you guys say that's probably the biggest topic? It's because of the Trey Tucker draft pick. It's because now people's like, well, what's gonna happen with Renfro? The problem with Renfro is his injuries. Why did Waller get traded? Waller got traded not because he sucks. Part of it. He doesn't suck. I'm hating, guys. I'm hating. I'm trolling, guys. I'm trolling. The problem was your best ability is availability. Waller got traded because not only is he's in his 30s, he was getting hurt. Renfro, he got hurt. But my thing is you keep Renfro. You keep Renfro, try to get his trade value up, see if you can get a second round, third round pick. And I think this is, guys, this is why I think Josh McDaniels kept Derek Carr in for as long as he did. And then he took him out because he wanted to save the trade value. Problem is, there's no trade value there. The way the contract was set up, it also didn't help you. Now you can do the same with Renfro. You can have him play. Hopefully his trade value goes up. But now that's the thing, that's a risk. Because if he gets injured again, his trade value is going to go right down into the toilet. Like, and I think that's the thing is with Ziegler, he wants to get as much draft capital as he can. Whether that is last year, that was this past draft, but that's next year's draft. He is willing to get as much draft capital as he can. And I am all for that. The way you build championship teams is through the draft. You guys talking, y'all fooling, bro. They talking about road trips. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think. It's gonna be a short live today. I mean, we on 40 minutes. I love talking the Raider football with you guys. But man, yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. If you guys still want to get some of your questions in, I'll try to reply to them as much as I can. I got a busy day today. Also, on the way out, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button, hit the bell. Also, goal is 300 subs. We are 9 subscribers away. Let's get some 9 subscribers. Share the link with family. Share the link with friends. Hell, if they don't get out to like the Raiders. If they like football, man, let's get to 300. And then we're gonna get to our next goal, 400 before training camp. We're gonna be doing big things over here at Raiders Primos. We love you guys, and it's gonna be an exciting season. Try not to get so down about it. Let's all be nice to each other. Be nice to your friends and families. Okay, treat others the way you want to be treated. Love one another. And I hope you guys have a blessed Tuesday. I love y'all. Ray!